Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to play investigator today to decode the massive mystery surrounding Rajasthan's Bhangarh Fort. This is a place so deeply steeped in dark folklore and, honestly, terrifying legends that it's universally known as India's most haunted location. But as we're going to see, the real, factual story hidden beneath all these ancient stones, it actually might just be way more fascinating than the ghost stories themselves.
Right off the bat, you've got to understand how seriously this place is taken. The Archaeological Survey of India, that's the official government body responsible for maintaining historical ruins, they've issued this genuinely chilling mandate. Entering the fort before sunrise or after sunset is strictly prohibited. Now, practically speaking, sure, this is mostly because there's no artificial lighting and you've got local wildlife roaming the rugged terrain at night. But still, it absolutely proves that this location's eerie reputation isn't just a joke. You can wander around during the day all you want, but the absolute second the sun begins to set, you've got to be out of there.
So here's the game plan for this explainer. 1. India's most haunted fortress. 2. The forgotten golden era. 3. Tales of two curses. 4. Historical facts versus folklore. And 5. The modern paranormal verdict.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1. India's most haunted fortress, the ruins of Rajasthan. Now, moving into part 2. The forgotten golden era. Before the darkness. You see, before it became this incredibly dark ruin where people literally hesitate to enter even in broad daylight, Bhangarh's beginnings were incredibly bright. Built way back in 1573 by King Bhagwan Das of Amer for his younger son Madho Singh, this fort started off as this grand, super ambitious project to establish a powerful regional stronghold. The royal family poured absolutely immense resources into making this not just a standard fortress, but a true architectural marvel of its time.
Geographically, this place hit the jackpot. Sitting just 235 kilometers from Delhi in the Alwar district of Rajasthan, it was nestled right there, perfectly hugged on three sides by the rugged Aravalli Hills. This gave them brilliant strategic military protection alongside just stunning natural beauty. It was a prime, thriving location meant to stand there forever.
And to put that thriving into perspective, at its absolute peak, this now-dead city was a happy, bustling home to over 9,000 residents. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a massive, vibrant community packed with bustling markets, grand palaces, and a booming economy. It was so full of life, which is completely at odds with the silent, spooky ruins we see today. So naturally, the question is, what on earth turned a booming city into a cursed wasteland seemingly overnight? Well, to understand the fear, we really have to understand the folklore.
Which brings us to part 3. Tales of two curses, ascetics, and black magic.
Okay, so the first big legend blames the fort's expansion. Apparently, it disturbed a local ascetic named Guru Balu Nath who used to meditate nearby. The story goes that before construction even began, he warned the king that the fort could be built, but only on one condition. Its shadow could never, ever reach his meditation spot. Now, for 2 generations, the kings respected this boundary. But a third-generation ruler completely ignored the warning and built the fort higher. The shadow touched Guru Balu Nath's spot, and his resulting fury doomed the entire city. The legend actually says this curse is what mysteriously prevents anyone from building a roof there to this day. Seriously, locals swear up and down that any roof built in the ruins will just immediately collapse.
But the second story, this is the famous one. It's all about black magic, centering on the incredibly beautiful Princess Ratnavati and a dark practitioner named Tantric Scindia, who became utterly obsessed with her. Knowing he couldn't just walk up and court royalty, he got sneaky. When the princess's maid was out buying hair oil in the market, the Tantric secretly placed this dark magnetic spell on it, designed to literally draw the princess to him. But the princess was sharp. She realized the oil was bewitched and threw the whole bottle onto a massive boulder. The magic absorbed straight into the stone, which actually caused the boulder to roll forward, entirely crushing the Tantric. So local lore says that as this guy took his dying breath under that massive boulder, he cursed the town, screaming that everyone in Bhangarh would die and their souls would wander the fort forever. Right after this curse, supposedly a horrific, brutal war broke out with the neighboring state of Ajamgarh. The entire population, princess included, was slaughtered. It's said that this specific war turned Bhangarh into an eternal prison for restless spirits. And that is exactly why locals today claim they hear nighttime screams, the clinking of royal jewelry, and even see phantom royal courts assembling in the pitch dark.
Moving to part 4. Historical facts versus folklore. The missing records.
Now, here's where things get really fascinating historically, because when we actually compare this wild myth to reality, the narrative totally flips. We find absolutely zero historical record of a catastrophic war with the Jobgar ever taking place. It's literally just not in the archives. What we do find, unfortunately, is the very real, very tragic 1783 Chalisa famine. This was an unusually severe, widespread drought that starved millions across North India. So logically, it's highly likely that mass starvation and migration, not a magical boulder and a phantom war, is what actually forced everyone to abandon Bhangarh.
If you look at the timeline of events, there's just this massive, glaring gap in the official records. Historians know exactly how and when the fort began, in 1573, but there's no detailed official record documenting a sudden, violent destruction. There's just the devastating arrival of the famine in 1783, and then nothing but silence. And you know human nature. When there's a massive missing gap in the story, we naturally fill that terrifying void with myths.
So, the real kicker is this. If there's zero historical proof of a war, where did all these incredibly vivid stories of ghosts and phantom armies even come from? Well, right after the city was abandoned, huge rumors started swirling about a massive royal treasure left behind in the ruins. Historians actually suggest that these elaborate ghost stories were likely completely invented, or at the very least heavily exaggerated by the locals. It acted as this brilliant, clever, psychological security system to just scare away thieves and treasure hunters who wanted to pick the ancient city apart.
Finally, Part 5, the modern paranormal verdict, science in the dark.
So what happens when modern science actually steps in? Well, teams like the Paranormal Society of India, along with various news crews, have actually gone in and conducted nighttime investigations inside the fort to try and detect spirits. And sure, they did pick up some fluctuating EMF readings, but, and this is a really important piece of information, the Aravalli Hills surrounding the fort are naturally incredibly rich in metallic minerals. Those minerals frequently cause false positives on highly sensitive EMF devices. Ultimately, they found zero concrete proof of spirits, no ghostly markets, absolutely no phantom kings holding court. The final verdict? The intense fear visitors experience is largely psychological. It's a fear heavily fueled by centuries of sensationalized stories, combined with the incredibly ominous atmosphere created by the government's strict nighttime ban.
I want to leave you with this thought to wrap up our explainer today. When we finally strip away the bewitched magic oil and the rolling boulders, what we're left with is a genuinely magnificent, abandoned city and a tragically real history that's just been erased by time. So, are there truly unseen supernatural forces lurking in the dark of Bhangarh, or do we just fill the terrifying gaps of our own forgotten history with our imaginations? Thank you so much for exploring the shadows with us today.